everybody. It is June the 2nd. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. And just feel our breath. Take a long breath in. Take a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in. And a quiet breath out. Just really hear the pattern of your breath. Inhale and exhale. Belly rises and belly falls. If you've never done it before, invite one hand on your belly button and another hand on your chest wall. And spend a few moments noticing which hand is moving more. The more you can focus on the hand on the belly button, inhaling so that the belly rises, exhaling so that the belly falls. Inhaling a long, slow breath in. Exhaling, relaxed, slow breath out. Keep that rhythm of breath going. Breathing in, breathing out. As you're doing this slow, rhythmic breath, notice perhaps what the mind is doing. Many times the mind tries to pull us out of surrendering into stillness. The ego loves to be in charge. But see if you can just notice that. Bring all the focus to the bottom of the diaphragm, bottom of the rib cage. And just breathe into the base of your belly. Good work, really good work. Now take 6 or 10 more long, slow breaths here. Beautiful. Nice work. Finding this moment of stillness right now. Now when you're ready, roll your shoulders, stretch your arms, rotate your neck if you wish. And go ahead and open the eyes. Great to see everybody. So good. Funny how so many of us who are into this work, even a little bit, we know the importance of stillness and the importance of belly breathing, but we'll pull ourselves out. Oh, I've got to go check the flowers. Oh, I've got to go do this. Oh, I've got to go read a book. Oh, I have to go check this internet feed. But the belly breathing and the now is really everything. And we want to really begin to notice how much the mind pulls us out. So last week we wrapped up forgiveness, and this month we're going to be working a lot on the mind, okay? And probably a lot for the summer, we'll be working on the focusing of the mind. So yesterday I was teaching an event here in the city, and I drew a picture of a circle. I want you to visualize a circle. I want you to draw a line in the middle of the circle. If the circle, this is just a visual for our brains. If the circle represents your mind with a line in the middle, make one color of the half one color and the other another color. Half of that circle, if it represents the mind, half of it is full of thoughts of love, and half of it is full of thoughts of fear. And they don't overlap. And at each moment, you're grabbing from one or the other, including your conscious, subconscious thoughts. When you're a baby or an infant, you're typically grabbing from the field of love. And then the older you get, out of habit, you grab from the habits of fear. And the more you grab from the fear, the more it just becomes your go-to. Make sense? So as you all know, in the work I do, it's like, can I take think about it about putting my hand on the stove, which I would never, like, you do it once, you know not to do it again, right? So when I find myself in a whirlwind of fear, what a lot of people, especially the longer they've been doing this work, they try to figure out why they're there. Just take the hand off the stove. Like, just do it. Like, why is my hand on the stove? Because I want it there. How about you just take the hand off the stove? Got it? And a lot of us who are into this work, because a lot of people who come to my work have been studying this work for a day or two. And now with social media, the event I taught yesterday, there were about 15 or 16 people. Three clients had come to my events before, the rest were all new, but really new, which was amazing. They had done some work on their phone, on social media, but not really dived into a class. For a lot of them, it was their first time in a class, which was amazing. So even like diving in past a book, which is amazing. But the application of this work is different than just reading a book. The application of this work is going to push you, okay? So it's out of addiction that we put a hand on the stove to go, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And even when we have body pain, the longer we're in this work, we're trying to figure out what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. Put the hand on the stove. Or take the hand off the stove and start to realize that the addiction to touching the stove is actually our resistance to love, our resistance to the other part of that mind, the resistance to the truth of who we are. And it's not etheric and out there in the heavens, it's here. Half of your mind has the ability to connect to love right now. So now I'm going to teach you something else. I always talk about thought one becomes thought two, becomes thought three, becomes thought four. So often I draw it like an arrow. Thought one, arrow thought two, arrow thought three, arrow thought four. And the arrows, what the content of thought two is resultant of the emotion. So thought one creates an emotion. That creates thought two. Thought two creates another emotion. That creates thought three. Thought three creates another emotion. That creates thought four. Typically, the emotion after about 4 or 5 thoughts is always the same. Got it? So that emotion from that first bunch of thoughts is everything, because it's going to bring the rest of the thoughts. And in my work, we call that momentum. After 68 seconds, you have momentum. By 4 thoughts, you have momentum. A thought of 17 seconds will bring in another thought. And just out of habit, you put your hand on the stove. Got it? But it only takes a pure thought of the mind that has love to create another motion. So I'll get you guys to close your eyes and we'll pick a general thought, and I'll define the general in a second. So you're going to close your eyes and just say this thought in your mind and repeat it about 30 times. I am supported. I am loved. I am supported. I am loved. And maybe even thinking more of the universe. I am supported by the universe. I am loved by the universe. I am supported by God. I'm supported by the Creator. And just keep repeating a thought like that in that elk for a few breaths. I'm supported by the universe. I'm supported by love. Supported by the Creator. And just keep breathing. And notice how that feels in your body. And just sit still for a minute. Notice how it feels in your body. Stay in the body sensation for just a moment. And now that you're in the body sensation, notice if another thought comes in. It will. Another thought will come in. And sit with that second thought that's come in. For me, the second thought that just came is, I am loved, but maybe for you it's a different thought. Come in with that new thought. Sit with that emotion. And get quiet. And see if another thought comes in. And just do this one more time on your own for a second. Take a breath. Noticing the thoughts that are occurring, that are just popping into your head. After a few more breaths, when you're ready, go to open your eyes. I'm going to teach what I just taught you in a second, but I want you to use the chat box. What What thoughts popped in? Use the chat box to share what thoughts popped in. And I'm going to actually formally teach that exercise in just a second. What thoughts came in? The one I asked you to look at first was, I'm supported by the universe, supported by the creator. And then what was the second thought? What was the third thought? Give you guys a second. Just share in the chat box what came in. You can breathe. Nice one, Jamie. Love that. What else came in for you guys? Love that, Louise. You aren't alone. I am whole. Love that, Siobhan. Love that. My to-do list, my do-to start to come in. So good, Jamie. I'm glad you start to see that. You are one. Love that, Catherine. I am held in the arms of God. Beautiful, Emmy. So I want to formally teach that exercise. Work. I love that, Rachel and Brie. I'm an integral part of the universe. So good. So formally how that exercise works is, more coming in. The universe has my back. When I repeated the two statements, there was a lot of space for other things, and I felt peace and love. Okay, so formally how that exercise works is, you wake up in the middle, you wake up first thing in the morning, stretch your arms, and you actually realize you're awake. And then the first thought you grab is going to determine the momentum, at least for the first little while. And then I'll teach you how to break momentum in a second. First thought you grab, first thing in the morning. There's actually a moment before you actually, when you realize you're awake, when you're lying in bed and you're like, am I still dreaming? Am I awake? And you're kind of coming into realms of your body. And there's a glimmer of time there. And that glimmer of time is when you want to grab your first thought on purpose. What I typically do is I will typically think before I go to bed at night, what thought do I want tomorrow morning? First one. So I've already set it up. But sometimes I forget to. So this morning I woke up my eyes and I'm like, what day is it? Which is typically normal for me. What day is it? I have no idea what day it is. What happens for me is, what day is it? Then I have a visual flash in my mind of what's on the calendar for that day, because I've got a scheduler, and I have a visual, and then I look at the clock. And so already, if you think of it that way, I've already gone into to do and to work mode. Do you see how that happened? As opposed to stretch your arms, wake up. If you grabbed a thought like, I am supported, I am loved, then what happens is when you hold that thought, then an emotion comes in, then that emotion goes into your body. And no one knows, like if you study this scientifically, which is, I'm a nerd, so I do stuff like this, no one knows scientifically what comes first, the thought or the emotion. They kind of come together. Got it? They come together. But because first thing in the morning, you're waking up, you actually have a choice. So grab the thought. What is the feeling? Sit with it. And the studies show 17 seconds of sitting with a pure emotion, purity, will bring in the next thought. And I noticed on the chat group, a few guys had wobble thoughts, which is normal. It just tells you that that emotion isn't purely held, because a lot of us are really used to the fear of the touching the stove. So holding peace is like, what the F, Divi? You're asking me to do that? So holding the emotion purely, right, for a moment, and then letting the next thought come in. Then it goes emotion, thought, emotion, thought, thought, emotion, thought, emotion. Got it? And that's what we call momentum. And that's why you wake up one day and have an amazing day, because everything went so well for you in the morning. Or you have a day that went downhill like that. But regardless of which way it's going, but especially if it's going downhill, you don't want to wait to go to bed at night to start momentum again. We call this momentum. Got it? Thought one becomes thought two, becomes thought three, becomes thought four. We've all experienced it. You feel shitty, then you're really shitty, then you're really shitty, then you're really shitty, right? We've all had it. And then you're like, how do I get out of this? There are actually techniques, and it's called breaking momentum. So like I just shared with you guys before I hit record, I was at the office, I was teaching a class, and luckily this type of class I was teaching, I wasn't actually on the computer and I wasn't actually having to talk. Lonnie and Rebecca were working, thank God. And it's very rare that happens. And while they were working, I heard a scratching sound and I was like, what is that? And my thought did go to, like, intuition said, is that a mouse? But there's nothing I could do, right? I'm like on a class. And I looked over to my left and I saw a mouse crawl into my office, and I freaked out. Luckily, they brought somebody in, they took the mouse out. I freaked out because that's divvy. And if I'd stayed at the office, I would have stayed in fear. I would have kept looking over my shoulder. Do you guys see how it works? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Out of fear. Because that's the momentum. So how do I break momentum? I came home, got it? So I broke momentum. I sat outside for a few minutes. I meditated, and I brought in the divine mother of love. See how that works? And I also interpreted the message of seeing a mouse, which I'm not going to get into today, because there's a message in everything that occurs. So I got back into love sitting outside in the sunshine for just about, I had my timer on. It was like 4 minutes that I had. So I brought my vibration back up. And then the thought that came in was, I am blessed to have a community I get to hang out with. And some of you guys showed up. So many showed up. I'm so excited. Right. And it's, you see how I broke the momentum because I knew if I'd stayed there, I would have been scared. Do you see how it works? So there's many techniques to break momentum. I'm going to get you guys to use a chat box, but I'll just do a bunch I use. The easiest for me, if I'm really busy, take a big breath, call in my guides, and feel the love. Because then automatically I feel the love and support. And I know not everybody knows how to do that, which is totally cool, but just takes a minute to go, bring in my guides, bring in love, done. Love changes. Then I sit there until a thought comes in, like I am blessed or I am lucky or whatever. I wait till one or two thoughts come in because those thoughts come in like a surf wave. Do you see how it works? Like a surf wave, they'll come in. So one is just take a big breath. Other ones that are obvious are like, if you have time, get up and go to yoga class. If you have time, get up and go for a walk. If you have time, get up and go for a run or meditate, do something physical. But the thing is, I can go to yoga class, roll up my mat, pick up my mat, walk out the door and go, excuse my language, fucker. And I can go right back to the momentum I walked into class with. If you don't know, I ran a yoga studio for about 10 years. I see it all the time. People would be like really pissed off when they walk into class. They would be like, after the class. Then they would get to the bathroom and they'd be talking about the fucker again. I'd be like, what just happened? Because they didn't know how to hold the momentum. But it's what I was teaching yesterday, it's about the mind. Rather than the mind being in control of you, you be in control of your mind. And this is a technique for you being in charge of the mind. So when a thought comes in that's not in that pure love state, I haven't held the emotion long enough. Got it? And I'm grabbing for touching the stove. That's all I'm doing. And then I have lots of other techniques. I've got a whole month. I'm going to teach you guys momentum and thoughts and stuff like that. Now, what I will say this as a little sidebar before I keep going, just as a bee in your bonnet. If you keep like touching the hot stove, no matter how hard you try with this exercise, that tells you it's an unconscious pattern called a shadow that I probably won't teach in these next couple of weeks, but I might, you don't know. What shadows are is they're unconscious traumas from childhood that need to be healed, which there's different techniques. And so if this technique I'm teaching you doesn't work and it keeps coming up, it's a shadow. Got it? So we'll leave that alone for now. But this is more about just conscious attention to thoughts right now. Because we all have capability of it right now. So that's a bit about thought momentum. Okay, now we're going to spend a few minutes talking about how to break momentum. So when I just gave you, take a long breath, go to yoga, go to meditate. What else do you guys do? Use the chat box. What else do you do? What do? Distract yourself, go on TV. What else do you do? Surf the internet, go to social media. What do you do to break momentum? You're touching the stove, all the fear-based thoughts over and over again. Walk in the sand, great one, Milani, really good. Smoke weed, perfect, Jamie, these are good. Spend time in nature with no device. That is, Catherine's second part is probably the most important, with no device. Capital letters for everybody. Journal, so good, Jamie, so good. Hit the gym and meditate, so good. And knowing that these aren't always possible. Ride my bike, so good. Have a shower, amazing, Siobhan. Listen to music, great, Rachel. Yeah, it's a really good one. Cuddle the dogs. They're always happy to see me. I love that. I've been excited since Saturday because we decided to adopt a dog in October. So I've just been like, I've already named her. I've already like tuned into her. It's all good. So I'm so excited. But play music and shake, dance, so good. Like all you do is put some music on, dance around. But the key is after you do that, you have to you have to set the momentum like I just did. So say you break the momentum, right? Don't put dance, Facebook, good. Facebook, yeah. And things like Facebook, Instagram, there's nothing wrong with it. But for some people, it will actually increase the momentum of fear or resentment or comparison. I know it does for me, just so y'all know, okay? Which is why on my feed, I have a lot of animals I follow on purpose. So when I open them, I'll see a happy dog. Like I'm not joking. I probably have more animals than humans I follow, okay? Because it helps me to break it. Sit with my feet in the stream, so good, or the river, so good, Chuck, so good. I'm like, Chuck and Lalani, where do you guys live? Sand, river, I love it. Okay, so once you break momentum, you have to do something called get general. What is get general? Get general is I'm a 5'5", 5'6" woman with dark hair. Okay. So general is like taking a camera and zooming out. Okay. Versus specific is zooming in. Okay. And a specific thought is I've got brown hair. I've got maybe some makeup on. I've got 1,000 eyelashes. More specific the thought is, the harder it is to hold the momentum. The more general the thought is, the easier it is. A rule of thumb: if you're feeling amazing, get specific. If you're rock and rolling, you're hitting the miles of the park, every moment, every friggin' thing that could go right is going right, get specific. If you keep touching the stove, get general. If you keep hitting fear, get general. And theoretically, if you've never done this, I've done this many times. You know how people do water fasts? Getting general, like food fast, getting general is the same idea. Got it? Because as humans, we're addicted to specific. As humans, we're like, I want to tell you how much money I have in my bank account. It's this many dollars and this many cents. And I can tell you how much money is coming out. I don't know how much money is coming out. And that's so specific. Do you see how it works? And at the end of the day, there's not any money, even money in the bank. There's no like vault where your money is sitting. Get really, really on it. So getting general is actually very challenging for the human mind. Because as children, we're actually applauded for knowing what 2 + 2 is. We're actually applauded for knowing how to spell cat. Got it? So the mind that I talked about, we're often trained that the more specific I am, the better I am. There's a direct correlation for people. If I talk about it, then I'm safe. Bullshit. If you talk about it, you're increasing it. If it's working, great, talk about it. Amazing. Amazing. But if it's not working, stop putting your hand on your stove and get general. So if you did one piece of homework this month, that's one thing I would really encourage. So I want you to like close your eyes and just try this for a minute. If your mind had to think and you're out for a walk and you had to think general thoughts, what kind of general thoughts could you think? And just like notice what comes in. Like for me, it would be like things like, it's a blue sky. There's green grass. I'm blessed to live in Vancouver. Vancouver is my favorite city. Do you notice how I felt? I got really, really general. I didn't go into specifics at all. Take a few breaths. Notice what general thoughts you can come up with. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Do yourself a favor, because the more you actually write into the chat box or talk out loud, the more you're going to get out of this. Write into the chat box 3 general thoughts that you can go to that work for you. 3 general thoughts. So I'm asking just 3, right? I'm lucky to be alive. I'm lucky to have hair. I'm lucky to, what are 3 general thoughts? I'm lucky to have a home. What kind of general thoughts can you have? I'm lucky to know people that love me. Like, oh my God. Like, I love all of you. I'm lucky to have your love in my life. Like, oh my God. What kind of general thoughts can you have? I love my work. I love sunshine. I love moving my body. And if Catherine stayed with that, imagine what starts to happen in our life, right? Because there's a really positive momentum. Because the universe is responding to the energy, right? I'm lucky to be a dad. Amazing, PJ. I love that. I love that. What general thoughts can you have? What general thoughts can run you? What general thoughts? Give you guys a second. I'm lucky to have clean, fresh water. So good. I live in a beautiful place. I have a gorgeous home. I have a loving community. I'm lucky to be healthy. The trees are green. Sky is blue. I'm lucky to feel safe. The mountains are beautiful. I am loved. I am whole. So good. I'm lucky to be here. See? I'm intentionally creating and loved by the universe. See? It's not hard. You can borrow some of these. So I can feel my body. And Siobhan, that's huge because a lot of people can't. I know that sounds silly, but a lot of people can't. What a beautiful world. Blessed to have 7 granddaughters. I'm comfortable. See? So if you have 3 or 4 general thoughts that are your go-tos, I'm lucky I can see Tina's beautiful dress. Not everybody can see. Got it? I'm lucky to know that that's a cat that Tina has. Not everybody can see the cat or know that it's a cat. Got it? As silly as that sounds. But see, what's going to happen is the ego is going to argue with you and say, why are you bothering doing that? waste of time. Go figure out the problem. And this is what I try to teach people. Wayne Dyer, if anyone remembers him, was amazing at teaching this. He used to say there's 7 spiritual solutions for every problem. Spirit is trying to bring 7 spiritual solutions into your life. Like I think of it like airplanes that are trying to come into my life. And I'm touching the hot stove. I'm figuring out what's wrong. Figuring out, talking about it. Why? So I can prove I can spell cat. Really? No. But what I'm doing when I do that is I'm preventing spirit from coming in. And people are like, but why can't spirit come in? Because spirit only responds to our vibration. So if my vibration is love and joy and freedom, spirit can come in. Because those are the only vibrations spirit sits in. Love, joy, freedom, awesomeness. If anyone knows any of the Abraham Hicks work, the law of attraction work, what does she say all the time? Joy is the key. Joy. Pure joy. Pure joy. But it's like when we're in joy, then those 7 spiritual airplanes can come in and help out. So if there's 7 solutions for every problem, why don't I just do the least I can by getting general, setting the stage up, setting my energy body up for love and joy and freedom. Got it? I'll teach 1 or 2 more things. The only reason people don't do this is because we think it would be a waste of time. The ego kicks in and says, well, why? What's the point of doing that? It's almost like you have to start to realize that it works, if that makes sense. You almost have to prove to your mind it works. You have to almost prove to the ego that it works. I know that sounds really weird, but it's like people are like, well, Divya, I need to go make a buck. I need to go do this. But what I always find is the universe has those answers, but we have to get out of the way. I'm going to teach something a little bit different here, but play with me on this one. Whew, I might rock the kettleboard on this one, but that's okay. Because a lot of you guys know I'm a teacher of A Course in Miracles. I use the word God sometimes, so forgive me if that word doesn't resonate. Change that to spirit, universe, love. The Course teaches us that the only energy that creates is God. God is the creation. God creates everything. And then this little human runs around saying, I gotta go do it. See the difference? I gotta go do it. And God created in 1 second. And so we almost have to train our minds that the more that we let go and the more we create space, God comes in. It's almost like a retraining. Because like a lot of you, I was trained, that little human character was trained to run around. I got to go push. I got to go hustle. I have to go work. I got to go make things happen. But then I get back into touching that stove all the time, just like all of you do. But I can tell you that the more I've let go, the more I see spirit sending me things. And one thing that one of my coaches had once said to me, this really helped me. He once said to me, he said, how much money do you make an hour? And I gave him a number. And he said, okay, imagine if you sat with God and the divine could create 10 times that amount per hour for you. So it's almost like you have to prove to your mind that that's true. That the more you sit still, the more aha moments you have, the more magic you have, and the more miracles you experience. But there's almost like it never ends of this dance between hustle, 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 and let go, because God's the only creation. And we have to do that dance, especially those of us who are entrepreneurs and coaches. We do this dance. But the more we do it, the more we start to trust the miracles. And I want me to remind you before I open up to Q&A, a miracle is a shift in perception from fear to love. That's it. But in order to shift that fear-based perception, I've got to shift the vibration I'm in. Because if my vibration is fear, I can't receive a message. So it's actually more time-consuming to stay in fear. And if it means I get on a plane and go to Chuck's house and put my feet in the stream, and that amount of time it took me to do that is worth it, or fly to Lonnie and put my feet in the sand, even though it's like just 5 feet from my door, right? If the time taken to do that, people think, oh, well, I don't have time to go work out. I'm sure, Catherine, you hear that all the time. I don't have time. But people don't realize that you're actually making time because you're creating time for the universe to work. spirit to work, because then those airplanes of the answers can fly in to help. And if you want to visualize your 7 spiritual solutions, and I'm putting my hand on the stove, what if I get off the topic and I go to the beach? Or if I get off the topic and go, and when I'm at the beach, don't talk about my problem. Get general. And the key is get general and see what thought comes in to match it. And if you keep getting, excuse my language, shitty thoughts, you have to stay longer in that general place. I'm going to say one more thing before I open to Q&A, because I always do Q&A and coaching on these community calls. So I remember teaching this once, let's just say 10 years ago, 12 years ago, at an event I was teaching 10 years ago. And I taught this technique. And there's a woman in that workshop. I remember her like it was yesterday. And she came in because she had chronic pain. She had been in chronic pain for 15 years. Okay. And she left the workshop. It was a 2-day workshop. And she left the workshop really mad at me. She's like, well, you haven't given me anything to make my pain go away. And she's like, give me something to make my pain go away. And I said, look, so-and-so, take the techniques I gave you and go home and work on them. And just, back then, what I just taught you in 10 minutes, I would have taken like 2 hours to teach. I used to teach, I can pull what I just taught you into an hour or 2-hour technique, because just any technique I teach, I can take a lot longer to teach. But so she went home and she was pissed off. She didn't actually go home. She went to a park. Just sat at the park, pissed off at me. Cool. And then I guess my voice ran into her head. And then she started to get general. And then, you know how we talk about breaking momentum? Okay. So one of the techniques to break momentum, if you can't seem to break momentum by going for a walk and doing all those things we talked about, another technique is called the 17-second rule. If you haven't heard it, it's an Abraham technique. And how it goes is you're touching the hand on the stove, and I'll allow you start counting 17, 16, 15, 14, until you get all the way down to 1. And usually around the 10-second mark, your brain goes, okay, let me think of a positive thought. But if you get to 1 and you're still like spiraling, you go back to 17 and you keep doing it. So she was sitting on this park bench, pissed off at me and mad at her pain in her body. And just like if you've ever had chronic pain, it completely sucks. And it's all you know. Having been there, done it, I know how bad it is. So she sat there in chronic pain, did the 17-second rule for 63 minutes. And out loud, 17, 16, 15, 14. But while she was doing it, she kept getting mad at me. 17, 16, 15, 63 minutes of doing it. For the first time in 17 years, she had no pain. Got it? Because she was like, fuck her, I paid her that much money and she didn't teach me anything, and she sat on the bench. And then she came in that next morning going, I had no pain for 2 hours last night. I said, what happened after the 2 hours mark? She said, I turned on the TV and watched the news. Boom, it came back. It was the first time in her adult life she equated pain with fear and anger. Because what was happening was she was angry at me, and then she was afraid nothing was going to work, and then she was in that spiral. By going 17 all the way down to 0 for an hour and a half, she finally broke momentum, and the spirit could zoom in. Make sense? So I'm sure none of you guys are as resistant as that. I jokingly say that with love, right? But it is possible to experience miracles, but it takes our willingness to say, I am ready to do some of the work. All right, I'm going to pause there. Take a breath, close your eyes, see what questions coaching is coming in. Take a breath. And take whatever you want to go home with today. And maybe before you open Q&A coaching, write in the chat box 1 or 2 things you're going home with today from what you've learned today. What are some things you're going to go home with today? Just because the more you share about what you're taking home with you, that gets cemented into your brain. If you ever go to like a Joe Dispenza retreat, I have never been, but the people tell me all the time, he breaks all the time saying, talk to the person next to you and tell them what you learned. I do that a lot in my in-person exercises. So say in the chat box, what have you learned? What are you taking home with you? Because what you're sharing is what's going to get cemented. I have the power and choice to change momentum. Bang on, Catherine. So much. It's in your power. Love that. What else are you taking home with you today? What are you going with? I'm going to take my hand off the stove. So good, Jamie. I was trying to figure it out. And Jamie, I want you to be open. It's the masculine part of our brain that's always trying to figure it out, right? So good. So my clients who come more in the masculine, they not necessarily they do it more, but that tends to be the thing. To get it? I totally get it. When fear comes in, get general, it will shift. So good, Louise. Sit in the peace when I have the awareness. So good. And I'll give you one more piece of homework tonight, guys. Go to bed asking yourself, what thought do you want to wake up in the morning with? I'm going to try to wake up without going, what day is it and what's my schedule? Because I do that most days, right? So what do you want to go to bed with and what do you wake up in the morning? The ability to shift momentum. So good, Alani. And get general after, and you'll see magic. You'll see magic if you do it. Because a lot of you guys have been here for a while. PJ wrote, when I break momentum, I can reset it. Remember who I am. A lot of you guys have been here for a while. There's videos on my Skool class where I talk about the observer. Being the observer is the key, because if I need to observe that I'm scared. I need to be observed that I'm angry. I need to observe to get it. And only when I observe it can I decide to step out of it. Amy wrote, choose a positive thought first thing in the morning. Spend more time in the energy of positive emotions and 17 seconds to shift. So good. Amazing. Let me know when I wake up with, I am loved, I am supported. So good. So good. Because every day we wake up, most of us wake up in a bed. God, I am so supported. Shaban wrote, I have power over my mind. Remind myself of that. Yeah. And most of us, think of it like the dog walking you or you walking the dog. For most of us, the mind walks us. Like the dog is walking us. I want y'all to learn how to, you be in charge of the mind. And it's even the shadow mind, which I also teach, which I don't know if I'm going to teach. I won't teach obviously this week. But the shadow mind also you can be in charge of. It does not need to rule you, which is like the subconscious, unconscious stuff. Amazing. Let's up to Q&A though. If there's not a lot, I can teach something else. I'll give it a second because there is some other stuff that I could teach. But hey, Tina, let's start with you.
Okay, so as you know, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks with, pneumonia and stuff. And so I had and I was curious why.
Oh yeah, okay,
Um,
sure.
okay, so I had a session done with Nisa, and we went back to my when I was born. And when I was born, I ended up getting separated from my mother for 2 weeks because I was ill. And then whatever happened, they came to the hospital and the doctor said I was dying, and they said we're taking her home. And so basically, I was sick. I got rescued and felt love. So then when I looked at my whole life, I've been injured. I have somebody rescue me, and I feel loved. And so and it's so funny because I feel a lot of shame around that. That's what occurred at birth. And so what I'm curious about is I'm trying to figure out um, like the kind of like the best affirmation to, because this is really deep. So this isn't something that's going to, I'm hoping it would shift in a moment because of the realization. But I also look at my life and all my injuries I've had and know that it may take a little longer than a moment. So what I'm wondering is if you may be able to give me some pieces to give to the Divine Mother,
Sure.
forgiveness pieces to support me in this. I don't want to do this again. So
100%.
yeah. And
The
then I realized, is it a shadow? Like, is this a
yeah,
shadow?
sure.
Okay. Then the other question I had, yes, okay, now I'm getting that. And then the other question is this what I came here for as my journey as a soul was to realize that God is love and I am love.
That's
Um,
you just nailed that last part. That's exactly your journey. Got it? But the only place of safety is love, is the Divine Mother. So you know how, and I'm taking from other times you've been on the calls, so I think you might have typed it today. Sometimes we'll find safety in Facebook,
yeah.
safety in people's attention. And just before I keep going, just to share with everybody, Tina hung out for a long time, so she's really deep in the work, so y'all know, because this is probably my want to make sure it's not going through other people's heads, Tina. So it's like, yeah, where have I outsourced my safety?
Yeah. You asking me that?
And just sitting with it, and then it really is in a moment to moment to moment to moment basis is to walk with the mother and
So to
forgive
just
myself.
calling her in
Yeah, do it right now.
regularly.
Do it right now. Do it now.
Okay.
Bring her in.
Okay.
Bring the divine mother and tell me where she is sitting next to you. Like, where is she? And tell me how she feels.
I actually don't really get a feeling.
Okay.
I just have a knowing that she's there. I don't
Amazing.
really,
Amazing.
yeah,
That's great. And knowing that she's somewhere around you or in your vicinity or near you.
start to get anxious.
Okay, good.
Um,
Good, good, good.
yeah. Let
That,
me
that
see.
anxiety is what needs to be worked on. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I keep popping into God, but not the good one. Like,
Like the God that you were raised with, the one
the
that
punishing one. Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see where do you see why that's you see it, right? That's your purpose. So I will tell you what I'm seeing. It's like I want you to get to the place where you can feel that, like I keep seeing her, like if I'm you, okay, I see her right in front of you that I can put my hand on and touch her. Like she's not even this far, like this far apart.
Okay.
To get it? Can you
Yeah.
try that right now? Just imagine, you don't have to do it with your hand up, but you can if you want. Like, can you
Yeah.
right there? Can you imagine that she's right there?
Okay. I can see her. Yep.
Good. Can you allow yourself to be with her? And I know you said you don't feel her, but
Hmm.
ask yourself if you're willing to feel her.
Okay.
Tell me what comes up.
I feel like the grip of anxiety on my heart is shifting.
There we go.
Okay. And I also feel a lot of sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was teaching this weekend. Do you remember Corey from Mexico? So Corey was at my event here in town yesterday, and I had her, like, you know how sometimes when I'm teaching, I'll like do like visual displays with people's bodies so they get a sense. And so I've had Corey play God. So here's Corey. He's playing God, okay? And so we did this thing where if this was Corey and this is the human. Remember how I talked about the three beliefs of the ego? The first belief is separation. So as soon as the human, can you see this? As soon as the human says, I'm separate from God, that's where sadness comes from. See how my hand is here? And
Okay.
because of, and I'll just keep teaching this for a second, because I'm just doing this so that everyone can see it. Because sadness is here, then I want something. Here, sadness is here. Then I want this to make me feel better. Name my husband, a Porsche, sex, I don't
Oh,
care what it is. This is attachment. And then that creates anger. And because I'm attached, then I get fear and control. Got it? So you're looking at sadness because you're separate, or because you have they just said, because you have a false sense of what God is. Right there,
yeah.
right there, right there. You just felt that, didn't you?
Yep. Sure did. Yeah. So then as a baby, I was crying. So that was sad. And then I wanted someone to come. I wanted something, which was my mom. And then I don't know what the third one is. Is that God?
No, the third belief is that control and fear that it's not going to happen. So
Okay.
if we have fear, it's because we want something that's actually inside of us.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So
So then that's where that kind of originated
yeah,
right from being born and being left in the hospital.
exactly.
Yeah.
And see if
Okay.
you just pause for a second. Can you go back to the love? Because I don't want you to intellectualize anything. I want you to go right back to the love. Go back there, right there, right there, right there, right there.
Okay. So then basically, time to meditate.
And what I'm trying to show you is the reason I said I wouldn't let you go quite yet is because the mind, when we're trying to figure it in our head, it's actually
Mm.
fear based,
Yes.
right? And we're trying to figure it out versus the stillness of letting the love in to get the difference, but it's totally opposite.
Yeah. And so then that's why the anxiety kind of prevents me from feeling the love.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so then I get locked in that. And then when I feel the anxiety, I go on Facebook to try to to try not to feel so anxious.
But then the anxiety, because I've known you a long time, Tina, then creates anger.
Oh, that's exactly what fucking
I know that.
happens. On Facebook, I get angry because I'm ticked off at what's going on in the world.
You say, but it's actually the anxiety that you shut up in Facebook with that's causing it.
Right.
Can I teach something else, Jamie, before I grab you? Because Tina, this is what I was going to teach. Okay, so I'm going to teach something, and I'll come back to you, Tina. Just stay with me. So if you're a student of the Course Miracles and read today's lesson, which is about defense walls, I'm going to try to take a section. I'm going to just teach it to you guys. How many of us have fear? Okay, as soon as we have fear, fear creates anger. And why? And what the reasons we have fear is because I'm afraid that I'm alone. I'm afraid I'm alone on the planet, walking around the planet all by myself. You with me? And then because I'm afraid I'm alone, then the fear actually creates attack. Like, so let me, I'm going to back up and say something a little bit different. Fear comes from the idea, and I may or may not lose anybody on this, I'm not sure. Fear comes from the idea that I need to keep this thing safe. Right? Right? Is that fair to say? Think of all your fears. Just think of every fear you guys have, because a lot of put your hands up. Think of the origin of all, not the origin, but if you think of what you're afraid of, it all boils down to keeping this safe, whether it be fear around money, which equals food, home, all that crap, right? Fear around, is he going to love me? Am I going to have sex? Do you see how it works? Like all fears originate from the body. Are you guys with me still? Haven't lost anybody? Think about it just for a minute. That's okay. So all fears originate about keeping this friggin' thing I call my body safe. Just watch TV for a minute. An earthquake happened. They're going to come kill you. Oh my God. Right? That all fears around. So if I teach it from the course, that's called a defensiveness. I've got to keep this safe. I think you're like, if you think about it and actually think, I'm just a robot walking around the planet. What is that mind trying to keep safe? Like, so it's a defensiveness. Do I still have you guys? So it's a form of defensiveness when I'm really scared. Got it? Because I'm scared not going to make money. It's a defensiveness. I'm scared this is going to happen. It's a defensiveness. Now, any defensiveness actually is what creates anger and attack. So if I'm trying to keep this body safe, then what does, if I went to America, no offense to my American friends, I love you all. I'm going to go to the store and buy a gun because it's going to keep me safe. Does it actually do it? No. So fear, and I jokingly say gun, but that's just an exaggeration of how we attack people. So all fear revolves around the body, which is defensiveness. Then defensiveness creates attack. Does this, I haven't lost you guys? Is this making sense to your guys' brain? And then we end up in this friggin' loop. I'm afraid, then I attack, then I attack, then I'm afraid, then I'm afraid, then I attack, then I attack, then I'm afraid. That's the entire world. It's like heartbreaking when you think about it, because it's a way that the ego stops us from connecting to our God self. And excuse my language, it's fucking ridiculous. I'm so sorry for swearing. It is absolutely ridiculous. So Tina, I'm going to come back to you in a second, but I want you guys to share in the chat box. How's this landing? What's coming up for you? How's this sitting? Like even I'm scared he's going to have an affair on me. Then I got to keep this thing safe. Like really? Like what does it mean if he has an affair? What the hell? Like why am I worried about this? Spot on. Okay, great, Catherine. I just want to make sure this is landing. So true. It's a never-ending spiral. Exactly. But when you see it in the way of defensiveness, it changes your mind. Like it's all fear is a defense structure to keep this thing alive. So true. It never ends. So good, Louise. It brings to light how much we outsource. Oh, Lalani, that's exactly it. I'm outsourcing my safety to something else. Rachel and Bree wrote, makes so much sense in how I feel. And thanks. So good, Rachel. So good. And when you understand it in that light, it changes things. My computer keeps changing screens on me. There's a momentum to a way of thinking, exactly, and a way of perceiving, exactly. I mean, I can't turn on the TV without there's some messaging around safety, even if it's a sitcom. Got it? So if you take anything from today's class, it's the momentum stuff, but I really want to add this because when there weren't questions at first, my guide said, teach them defense walls and safety. I'm like, okay, right? But it's understanding that it's so deeply intertwined. And Jamie wrote, holy moly, a totally different way to look at this constant stream of wrong thoughts around uncomfortable memories. Yeah, Jamie, it's a, excuse my language, it's a mind, F-U-C-K. When I learned this, Jamie, it blew me off the table. Like I always think I'm always learning. And when I first realized it and sort of had it explained to me or taught to me, I think I just sat with it for weeks because the majority of my thoughts around a fear, I can feed into. Yeah, but, and then it creates anger and then I spiral. So Siobhan wrote, yeah, so true. It's always then brings up the question for me and also fear of how do I change this to help my kids. Great question, Siobhan. I hope this helps you, Siobhan. I hope this helps you. How old are your kids, by the way? And you can share in a second. It's sort of how we speak to our kids, right? I have a kid, he's 20, and I hope this helps you. When I was raising him, because I do this work for a living, it was like, how do I raise him without this? And what my guide said to me, 5 and 8. Okay, so still pretty young. What my guide said to me was, so first off, in those younger years, you can try to give messaging of more love. So in the session I was teaching yesterday, a woman with a 5-year-old asked me, well, how do you apply this to kids? And she said, well, because I got to keep him safe from crossing the road. I said, it's the messaging you say it. I said, you don't want to cross the light when it's red, sweetie, because it keeps the body safe so we can cross. She goes, oh, because I do it from fear. You're gonna hit by a car, right? And so it's the messaging, right? And try to switch to more to love. That's part one. Now, as your 8-year-old becomes a teenager, what you're going to discover, Siobhan, if you're into this work a bit more, you'll start to discover that and you'll see it more in teenagers, you probably already see it with your 8-year-old, is every child has to create the ego, which I remember seeing in my kids start around 8 and really got more solidified around 15, right? It's like, oh, I see another character coming in, versus in your 5-year-old, you probably still see that fluffy, joyful Christmas morning magic, which is amazing. And that's more catch the spirit. So I remember when my son started turning 11, 12, 13, I was watching it going, almost asking, how can I redirect this? Well, my guide said to me, it's not your job to redirect it, because he needs to create this false image of himself so he heals it eventually. So what I've done with my kid is he sees me doing the work. And now that he's 20, he actually works for the coach regularly. And he hasn't dived yet deep into his fear-based thoughts, but he's getting there. Usually that doesn't happen until usually the human is about 22 to 25, just because of how the brain is structured. Part of your brain forms between 20 to 25, which brings you more awareness. So you just have to keep doing your own work and keep depositing more love-based thoughts and trying to redirect your how you teach them into more love. Does that make sense? So, and again, this is not about the vaccine, but they want me to say this totally as an aside. So regardless of what you did or didn't do with the vaccine, it's not about that, the COVID vaccine. But I remember when we were going through all that crap, our son didn't want to get the vaccine, which I totally respected. But it was, we decided to all get it out of love so that we could actually start to have life. Like, because none of us have any major things. No one was actually scared of it. Like, none of that existed in our house. But up here in Canada, it was a bit of a shit show. So we want to have a bit of a normal life. So we were like, okay, we'll do it from love. And so when we all went and got the vaccine, we were like, allow whatever needs to enter my body to enter, and whatever does not need to enter to leave. And so we just think of love and releasing anything I don't need. So that was a way of using every little thing that a kid runs into to add more love than fear. Does that make sense? So you can really just flip all of it. So even when we did his vaccines, it was more like, hey, we're doing this to increase love in your body rather than from fear. And so it takes a bit of retraining of the mind, but you can do it. Just a teeny bit of more words. So I hope that helped. Look back, take a breath. Tina, how are you doing with the anger and fear?
I think I'm just going to have to identify it, like when it comes, and also I just need to get off Facebook. It's for me, it's just I'm not busy enough, so that's where my go-to is. And so when I was working for my mom, I was always busy, so I didn't really have time for Facebook. So it's more trying to find. No, it's not trying to find what's next. It's more like listening to what's next.
And what the course teaches, I know you've heard this.
Yeah.
Ask the Divine Mother, what should I do next? What would you have me hear? What would you have me do? What would you have me be right now?
Okay.
There's actually a line from the course. If everyone knows it, please type in the chat box. But goes something like, Holy Spirit, please let me know what I should do, what I should think. Who should I go serve right now? What would you have me do right now? Something like that.
Okay. That's what I feel a lot in limbo. So it's kind of I get into trouble, mischief, when I'm in limbo. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then, like when I'm forgiveness set me free, I mean, I think it's for me, it just seems so deep that I'm not sure that would actually do anything.
It's really it's the fear, is the anxiety, right? Okay. I forgot this love was even there. So rather than even forgiveness set me free, what if you just go, let me let love in?
Okay.
Because even the fear that I've got nothing to do is a boredom, which is a fear-based thought.
Okay, let love in. Okay,
Make sense?
I will work with that. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Tina. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
I do.
How are you?
Good. I just have sort of this was great. I think I have a lot of work to do, and I have a lot of takeaways, but I just have one question because I have these really visual memories, and they're pretty standard. I mean, there's quite a few of them, but they'll cycle through at different times. So, anyways, one came up this morning, and and of course I started to panic and not be able to breathe. And then I thought, no, 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 and then I wrote down what is it about what is in her that's in me.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really want to know that, and then came here and and then I'm thinking, no, maybe I do need to know that. I know it's a different kind of work, but is there an order to these things? Like, because that's just almost too much for me right now.
Yeah, there's actually not an order. It's just learning all these different tools and use what you want to use at one time. But no, there's not an order. And so if knowing what's in hers and me is too much, don't ask her right now.
Okay. Okay. That's good. I'm going to work with the other ones then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Amy. Hey, PJ.
Hey, Davey.
Hey, you.
I'll turn my camera as well.
Sure.
Um, yeah, so the theme of safety, definitely coming up for me with the relationship I'm in. And we've talked in previous sessions about my energy around the feminine and like potentially st- having been quite hurt by the feminine in my trajectory, my arc, whatever, how this past life stuff works, I don't know. Um, but right now in my relationship, I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm having a lot of different feelings of panic and lack of safety coming up. And it comes up around my own sense of agency and am I, and also, yeah, safety, co-regulation. This particular relationship right now, like we see each other like once a week, roughly. Um, but I just feel like I want much more easeful time that I don't have to schedule with somebody so much.
Right.
But so I'm sitting with this and thinking there are more boundaries for me to be aware of and making known.
Okay.
Um, and I feel like the stuff coming up around safety for me is my like it's hard to step into deeper relationship when I don't feel that I have the tools to navigate it. Like my boundaries are a big part of that.
Okay. Yeah. So, um, so you can do both, right? As you create the boundaries, can I find the safety in me? Does that make any sense what I just said?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's both ands. It's both, I need the boundaries right now. And at the same time, I'm having these boundaries. Because again, the thicker, if I go back to the teaching from today, the thicker my defense walls, the more afraid I'm going to feel. But for a while, I
Mm-hmm.
need those boundaries so I can plug into spirit, like Tina was working on, which is my only safety.
Mm-hmm.
You see it? And then,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the muscles. I was teaching a different class the other day where I talked about it's like a balance, like it's like having a balance scale. Right now, it's like I need a bit more boundaries. And while I'm doing, and right now, what's on the lower scale is your connection to the divine, which is your only safety. But this is the temporary thing in the human realm. So the more connected I am to the divine, which is my only safety, the less of this thick wall I need.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make
Yep,
sense a bit to your brain?
it does. But also it's important for me to acknowledge when I need those thicker walls.
100%. 100%. And that is something that only you can decide. But what I would encourage you is not to do it forever, because that's not, you don't want to I'm joking,
Mm-hmm.
be an old man and have all these thick walls around you and never have love. I'm jokingly saying that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And honestly, I could see that happening for me, if I let the fear
Exactly.
sort of be unintegrated, like I do have fear and I'm doing a lot of therapy around that because there's a deep wounding around the feminine for me and it's always been there. So like this is going to come up for me over and over again.
100%.
The deeper I go with the feminine, it
100%.
feels like.
100%.
But yeah, so in order to step in, I also feel like I need to acknowledge do I need some really thick walls right now to even just step in and then feel into it?
Yeah. And that's perfectly fine, right? That's perfectly fine. That and you need that for your sense of safety right now as you do the other side of the balance beam, right?
Mhm.
So that's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. How does
Thank
that?
you. That's a good deep breath.
Yeah. And you need that because it's a big one for you. It's a really big one.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Tim.
Yes, PJ. Nice work. Love that. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Hey, Debbie. I'm doing good.
Amazing.
Well, I mean, yeah, I say that as
Okay.
the easy answer. But
Yeah.
so lately, I've just been going through a lot of relationship issues, exiting out of a relationship. It's been weighing on me a lot. I've been going through a career change. I've been redefining myself. There's been a lot going on in my life. And stress comes in. All of these things that we've been talking about are coming in, and I go to my mantras and my meditations, and it, it, it just doesn't work. And either I'm missing something from
Yeah.
the meditation, or I'm just not able to relax. But my biggest thing is I go to substances
Right.
for the relief,
Right.
and I do try to meditate, and I do try to reverse my thinking in healthy ways. But cannabis I use as a relief mechanism, but I hate using it because it holds me back in many other ways. Like I wake up late, I'm not as motivated, my charisma isn't there, yada yada yada. It goes on, but for some reason it does something for me at that time. And then the second thing I've been using is Xanax,
Right.
which really helps to relieve the overthinking. And then once that happens, I'm able to accomplish the things in my day because I'm just kind of like stopped part of my brain from overthinking. But I do not want to be using substances to maintain or cope. And I am going to throw this out there. I am not this,
Right.
but suicidal, like the extremes
Yeah.
of my mental state have been coming in, like suicide, like not me wanting to kill myself, but just like it would be better if I wasn't here, like these kind of thoughts. And
Right.
then on the other extreme end, some days I'm just like, fuck, I am so happy to be alive and to be me. And right now I've been fluctuating onto the very negative side a lot. Is there anything else I can do to bring in to kind of like hold that love within myself in a
Totally.
better way?
Totally. Great question. You've done a lot of shadow work, right?
Right now I'm doing shadow work,
Yeah.
and I'm also trying to even just understand shadow work. I need to understand these things before I can tackle them.
Okay.
So I've been getting a bit of it, but I'm not even sure exactly what my shadow is.
Sure. So let me just teach something, then I'll loop back in here. And there's a couple of chat things on the side for you. I'm going to leave that alone. The chats are for you. Okay. So this is how I always teach shadow work. Just bear with me for a minute, guys. I'm going to go a bit over, which is totally fine. So this is the age 0 to 15. Okay. And traumas occur. And as a result of those traumas, a part of your psyche is stored out here. Make sense? So for example, let's make this up. Your mom was never there. I'm making this up. Then we might have an abandonment rejection shadow that's stored here, right? Or you have an anxiety shadow of worthiness, just so you know. And so shadows are from traumas from childhood, but it's also like collective societal shadows. Then there's the shadows from our unconscious, from our mothers and fathers, the shit they have in store. So we've got like a whole warehouse of them. And our life is about going into them and identifying them. Make sense? So one thing I'll say just as a get-go, you got a couple that I'm seeing, and basically how you know they're shadows is they just keep happening. Like, does that make sense? No matter how much mental, and that's what used to how this call start, how the question started. I keep doing these things, but I keep going back. Does that make sense?
Right.
And so, okay, how you work with shadow, because you want me to go there next, is once you first identify it, you have to basically see it outside of yourself. And in a lot of the pre-recorded material, because I know you're in the RTS class, you'll see a lot of calls on it. So just go back and look at those. But it really is just seeing this part of me outside of me and go, oh yeah, I see you. And this is the hardest part. Hardest part is to go, oh yeah. Okay, they keep saying anxiety, anxiety. He has this anxiety shadow. Anxiety of being here, anxiety of safety, a lot of that. Does that make any sense up here to your brain?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to learn to plug into spirit more, where you can see it and go, oh, got it. And then you start the forgiveness work is one technique. The other work is connected to spirit is another technique. And the other thing they're saying, kind of offshooting, is there's the anxiety shadow. There's another shadow of like wanting to get it right now. Like, I got to get it fixed right now, which is connected to the anxiety. There's another one where he's mad at himself a lot, where he beats himself up. But it's like an onion layer, and it's like a corkscrew where you keep repeating them, but you peel them off, get thinner every time. Does that make sense? So like, I have an anxiety shadow for sure. And I just peel off a layer. It gets easier to handle when it comes up now, versus 10 years ago, I'd be in it longer. But there's a shadow in you around anger, around self-judgment. It's like, they're showing me a picture of, like, shoelaces that you keep tripping on. They're like shoelaces you keep tripping on. Dude, straight up, you have a guy who just walked in, like a hippie dude just walked in. He said to me, it's one of your guides. He walked in and said, dude, he uses marijuana, so what? Like, it's like, because what happens with shadows, if you get mad at yourself, if this is a shadow, it keeps it alive and it won't let you heal it. Are you with me?
Yeah. So the marijuana thing, like, I've battled this of being like, okay, I'm okay to use some cannabis every once in a while, but then again, it also like weighs on me as I'm using it for the wrong reasons.
Okay, I'll extricate a lot of those thoughts. I love you. I'm going to interrupt you. When I use it for the wrong reasons, it weighs on me. Those are the two sentences you said. Every thought we have is manifestation. It weighs on me when I use it for the wrong reasons. Can you see all of that is a collective shadow of I'm doing it wrong?
Right.
Breathe. There you go. You just saw that. Your third eye just opened when I said that. It's like you got a bit of a gap from that. I do shit, Jamie. If I share it, it's like neurotic shit. Like, it's insane. But at the same time, I don't beat myself up for it. And it's getting better. Like, it's getting better. And I'm just like, do you get it?
Yeah.
Like, and like, if you ever had a beer with my husband, he'd be like, oh my God, she's the most insane woman you've ever met. Because, but all it is I accept my insanity and my craziness to get it and go, oh, okay, there it is again. There it is. Okay, there it is. There it is. But you're so, like, a lot of men are like this, and a lot of women are like this too, who have a lot of masculine energy. We're like, you got to get it right. And that you can't approach shadow that work or that way. Because there's this gentle softness that needs to occur with it. So when I sit with my shadow, it's like, oh yeah, there's a part of me who I'm joking when I say this, who wants that 4 a.m. booty call. Interesting. It's the same thing with you. I'm mad at myself for doing the marijuana, and like, you put a lot of words to it.
I do.
Like, oh yeah, look at that. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Energy?
Yeah, I am seeing that. I've just been putting a lot of weight on this in the last like 2 weeks on myself, and I feel like as I put more attention to it, I kind of like dig myself a deeper hole mentally. I'm just like, how do I get the fuck out of this? And excuse my language, but I'm just like,
heard that word. It's all good. But what if there's, and PJ's comment, I just glanced at it, for some, and I know you've had a long journey with cannabis. Rather than looking at it as wrong, can you look at it as a stepping stone to what's next? But with all addictions, whether it be the 4 a.m. booty call or the marijuana or the alprazolam, I don't care what it is. When I make it wrong, I make it bigger.
Right. Right.
Everyone's got addiction. Peanut butter, chips, you name it.
Totally. So just to PJ's question here, can you feel into the possibility that cannabis is healing medicine for you? And yes, it has been a healing medicine for me in so many different ways because it's been a massive part of my life. But right now I'm feeling that when I use cannabis, it holds me back in different ways. Like it takes my charisma, it takes my energy, it takes my focus, it distracts me from the actual things that I want to do. And then I do something else that isn't what I want to do. And then the next day I'm like, shit, I didn't do the things I wanted to do because I smoked weed and it distracted me. So I go through that loop as well, even though that cannabis can be healing.
Right. So what if you just back up a little bit and breathe and take a breath with it all? Just take a breath. And what I'm going to bet, because it's right around your solar plexus, what's happening is it's like you're angry at yourself, and that anger keeps the perpetuation alive.
Yeah.
It blocks your solar plexus.
Yeah.
And then we go grab for the weed. You see the cycle you're in, or the Xanax?
We grab the weed and we grab the Xanax to not feel angry about myself.
You nailed it. And with shadow work, there's a lot of comments in the chat box. The hardest part is to sit with the depth of the pain.
I know. And that's something that I've been saying is sit with the discomfort. Sit with the discomfort. I've practiced this in the past. So this battle has been happening for a couple of years. I've went months without using cannabis. And I sat with the discomfort, and that feels good. But now with this relationship ending thing, it's a whole nother level of just like a weight that stops me from being able to do anything. And then I'm hard on myself because I look back at the last 10, 12 hours and I'm like, Jamie, I didn't do any of the things on my list. And now I'm back at square one, and Mondays turn into Fridays and I didn't do anything except go on a hike because I'm procrastinating. You know, I'm going through this, like just this cycle of.
Let me ask you a question. What's coming up with the relationship ending? What are the main emotions?
Well, as I've sat with this for so long, the relationship ended. It was a beautiful relationship at the start. There was a lot of connection, and really what's boiling down in me is the fear that I'll never have that again.
Okay, got it. That, and that's what's perpetuating. So sit with that fear. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. And because I know you're an RTS, I'm going to get you to listen to the recording from this morning. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. There you go. All relationships, if I have that, then I have this feeling. All relationships give us that. And the feeling you want is connection. And the only connection that's real is our connection to God. Okay. Take a few breaths. There, right there, right there. What does that feel like?
Well, that, like, as soon as you say that, I feel complete.
There. Okay.
You know, like I know that as truth.
And I'm going to bug you for a second. I'm going to get you to stop talking just for 20 seconds. There, just stay there. I know I asked, just stay there. They want me to say something else, Jamie. It really is noticing the addiction to the mind. And there, hold God's energy with you right now. Just hold that. There, right there, right there. And I'm going to keep talking for a minute before they let you talk. What all people avoid is the stillness with God and our Creator. Thinking that we have to do something, make something. Right there, right. And this is what you've been avoiding your whole life. Just stay there. Now they're letting you talk. Tell me how this is feeling for you.
I just missed the last thing you said there.
Okay. This is what you've been avoiding your whole life.
Yes. Okay. I've been avoiding. What have I been avoiding my whole life?
This relationship with God and the stillness.
Yeah.
That's why they wouldn't let you talk for a minute. They're like, get him to just sit with us right now. And you and Tina are doing a similar thing. It's an avoidance game of this stillness. You're there right now. I can feel it in you. You're in it right now. And that's what's causing all of the anxiety, the anger, and the perpetuation of the drugs. And there's nothing wrong with the drugs. Then do you see how you get into the momentum?
Yeah, I do.
And the biggest thing I would beg you is to not make yourself wrong, because this is as normal as a nose on a face. Everything you just said is normal. It's normal human functioning. And I know,
That right there helped
sorry?
me. You saying that right there helped me because I feel like I'm not normal
Okay.
while I'm going through this.
Oh, that's
I
so
feel like
funny.
something wrong with me.
Oh, I see. It's so funny because they said it's normal like the nose on his face. I'm like, okay, I'll say that.
Mm.
And if you read all the chats, like there's a lot of people on these calls who are doing shadow work, and it's hard, right, Catherine? It's brutal. I know, Rachel, you shared too. It's brutally hard, and you're in it and out of it, in it and out of it. And that's why I jokingly said, when you meet my husband, you have a beer with him, he will tell you how crazy I am. But he also can tell you that, yeah, she'll go to the anxiety, she'll touch it, and then she'll be nuts for a few days, then she'll just pop out. She'll go to the anger, be nuts for a few days, pop out. But my time I spend in those days is now down to minutes. Got it? It's really, really, like, I think Catherine used a great word, it's excruciating. But on the other side of it is really good. And then the amount of time you spend in there's a lot less. But for those of you doing shadow work, you are ahead of 95% of the population. We are lucky if 5% of the population looks at their shit. And the fact that this group, the majority of you guys are doing it, oh my God. How does that feel, Jamie?
Yeah. Yeah. This work, the shadow work is the work that has to be done for me and probably for most to grow and to expand and to level up. And that's what I want. I just feel so stuck. And even for the last like year and a half, I've just felt stuck. I have businesses, I have things going on. It's just, I'm lost in my brain, and the relationship and all of these things have compiled into right now. Literally today is one of the worst days that I've been feeling.
Got it. And I'll say one more thing. Well, I don't get scared by suicidal thoughts. I know they're not, active. But the reason we have that is because that is almost like the ego and God both at the same time. It sounds really weird. The ego's like, kill yourself. Not really kill yourself. It's like, find some peace. And what people don't realize is that place you were in a minute ago, and Tina was there too, where God is next to you, that's heaven.
Yeah.
And we think that when I leave this body, I'll find heaven. And I share all the time on calls. I have been suicidal. I have stood at the top of Lions Gate Bridge more than one time. Looked down and thought, damn, that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that feeling in my bones.
Mm-hmm.
Got it? Yeah. But doing this work, I will tell you that feeling that I'm actually looking for is my relationship with the divine, and that I can only find in stillness. Right? But I have to work with those thoughts that says, you're doing it wrong. Oh my God. I just watch them like a tennis match. There goes my thoughts again. So Jamie, the other piece of homework I'll give you is the observer. Just be in the observer.
Okay.
Does that help a bit?
Yeah, that definitely does. Just me talking helps a lot. So yeah, thank you everybody. And thank you, PJ, for, I know I went past time, but thank you.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We love you. So thank you. I got so much love on the side. I can't even go next.
All the best. Yeah.
So
All the best to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing work, guys. Let's just do a closing meditation. Take a breath. There was lots here shared today. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Take a few breaths. And take what resonates today. Going back to thought momentum. Will I give myself permission to not touch the stove for half of a second today? Beautiful. And when you're ready, go to open your eyes. Beautiful work, guys. I'm sending you guys so much love. I'll see you all next week. Have fun. Enjoy, guys.